Hello viewers, welcome to Businesses in Nigeria. Remember, we're a group of entrepreneurs giving you all the whole insight into that business adventure you want to adventure into. Smooth sailing, smooth transition, no hassle, we are here to help you, to give you the guidance steps into that business adventure. Right here in the studio with me, I have Isi Uzo Franklin, who we're going to be talking about life as an entrepreneur here in Nigeria. Thank you so much for being in the studio. Correct me on your name.
No, I know
I'm wrong. Well, yeah,
I was going to get there. So it's Isi Guzo Franklin.
Isi Guzo.
Isi Guzo, yes. So it actually means Isi Guzo Putara, like outstanding. Do you understand? Yes.
It's interesting. Our names are very unique and interesting. Mm-hmm. I've never heard somebody wearing
Isi Guzo, right?
Like if I should tell somebody my name, they just assume I'm from like Edo State.
Oh, okay.
Because my name, when you see it, it's looking like Edo.
Right?
Well, I'm like, no, I'm not from Edo State, even if the name sounds like familiar, but no, I'm not from Edo State. Yeah. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's my pleasure. All right.
We're going to be discussing life as an entrepreneur in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Can you introduce yourself for us?
Okay, so my name is Isi Guzo Franklin Kelechi. I might have lots of names. You can include Aminu, Babatunde, because I have a history of traveling around Nigeria to explore cultures, business opportunities, and all that stuff. Yeah, so my core business is apparel manufacturing, branding, printing, procurement. Right. I'm also a TV host. Yeah, worked in a couple of TV stations, so we're in the same WhatsApp group.
I have a lot to learn from you then.
And then. I also run a consulting firm where I have a partner. It's called Axel Business Consulting. So I have the Sperie Limited, which is actually my actual business, my standalone business. Of course, I have partners. So I just explain what we do from the branding part, which is, of course, we all know what branding is. And there's also the procurement. And when it comes to procurement, we target just corporate organizations, government agencies, and stuff like that. And then the area of merchandising, we're one of the few companies that manufacture proper football jerseys. Like we make merchandise. I mean, we've had a couple of our products on Big Brother, a couple of times, so we include the housemates and stuff like that. So just to give you a little bit of background of what we do. Wow. But typically, I don't see myself as a procurement manager. I don't see myself as a fashion designer. I don't see myself as a printer, so to speak. I just see myself as an overall businessman. So I call myself a serial entrepreneur.
What would you say is an undiluted journey in a typical Nigeria entrepreneur?
Okay. So in all honesty, that question is actually very broad because when it comes to Nigerian entrepreneurs, there are a lot of untold stories. I'll give you an instance. One of the things, I've learned a lot firsthand because I've been an entrepreneur all my life. Even when I was on TV, it was part-time.
That was like a really long time.
Yeah, that's a really long time. So I left secondary school. I went to FGC Mina, by the way. So I left in 2004. And then as of 2005, 2006, I found myself into business. I started making designs on T-shirts. So I made designs on T-shirts and then I would sell them. Then it was the era of Redeemers University. So literally, I've been on that journey, that path, So when I did TV for a couple of times, a couple of years, it was still part-time. So I would go like maybe a day. One of the TV stations I worked with was Nigeria. So I'll go like a day, I'll shoot all the content for an entire week, and then have that done and go back to my business. So if I'm going to answer that question, I'll tell you for a fact that it's a roller coaster of both emotions. It's a roller coaster of mental stress. Sure. There's hurdles. It's all over the world. We all know that being an entrepreneur is a whole lot of work. But then in Nigeria, for example, we have a lot of odds that work against us. So I actually believe that, you have to be extra, to be an entrepreneur in Nigeria. Not just about putting in the work. It's also about, making sure that you follow some unwritten rules. And if you ask me what these unwritten rules are, I'll tell you things like, of course, you need to know how to be a salesman. Because it's a general thing, but in Nigeria, you have to be extra, when it comes to marketing yourself as an entrepreneur, as a business person. You need to be a marketer. You cannot not enjoy marketing and then say you want to be an entrepreneur in Nigeria and then succeed. I think all over the world, right? But then in Nigeria also, we know that there are things, when I spoke about odds that won't work in our favor, of entrepreneurs rather, I'm talking about, there are some talking like abroad, for example, overseas, there are some I'll use the word structure that's been put in place that would help every entrepreneur to succeed and excel. But in Nigeria, we don't have all those things. I mean, we know when it comes to certain things that the government will promise young people don't really get it. There are very few organizations that have structures that help entrepreneurs. So I'll tell you for a fact that if you're an entrepreneur in Nigeria, it's a difficult one. But then the interesting thing is that there are lots of opportunities here, and then you can actually make it here.
That means starting like a young age, like really helped you.
Of course, it did.
To where you are right now.
Of course, yeah, it did, because it exposed me to a whole lot of things. I was able to make my mistakes in business and also learn from them, because making mistakes is also one of the key things when it comes to entrepreneurship. So I was lucky that I started very early, and then I had the time, right, to make those mistakes and then learn from my mistakes.
But parents are their children are too young to go into businesses.
Okay, well, I think that's in my era, right? Right now, parents, my son owns a clothing line, and I'll shock you to it that we support. Yeah, I'm telling you. So it's called,
that's nice. Yeah, you hardly get parents encouraging their kids to go into business. You're too young, you have enough time.
No, but
don't worry, you have enough time.
No, times are changing. People are beginning to understand that the world is being run by entrepreneurs. So parents would ordinarily would want their kids to just go to school, get a degree. But people are beginning to understand that, that's that formula, it gets us to be right now. Do you understand? Yeah, so,
it gets us to be.
Exactly.
I will also encourage people to tap into the mindset of the... Funny thing is, kids have the sharpest brain.
Of course they do.
And they learn so easily.
Of course,
so this is the right time for you to tap into their creative mindset and get them going. You don't have to wait and be they are too young for some certain... If they have passion in it, even if they are going to change on the later on.
No, that one is very standard.
Try to develop their... How will you balance your work life and your business life?
Okay, balancing work and business and my personal life as well, right?
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but then
being an entrepreneur that you're into a lot of things,
exactly,
and you also have work plus family.
So let me tell you how crazy. That's a whole lot. First of all, let me tell you how crazy it is. So I have my head office is in Lagos. I have my factory in Lagos, right? I have a branch here in Abuja.
Wow.
I'm currently setting up another branch in Abia State, right? Currently. So that's running 3 offices, at a time. Now, before Abia State kicks off, I actually spend 2 weeks in Lagos, 2 weeks in Abuja, and vice versa. And it's a lot, right? It's a lot. And I'm also managing people who work for me here in Abuja and people that work for me in Lagos as well. So imagine having to add Abia State to it. Okay. Now, how I'm able to balance all that is I have this strong belief that, as much as you're working so hard, you need to live while you're living, right? What do you actually
live while you're living?
Yeah, live while you're living. Exactly.
that's
Because
very interesting. Live while you're living.
Live while you're living. Because a lot of people, get so carried away with trying to make ends meet, trying to make money, and then, they forget that, you also need to live to be able to enjoy the benefits of these struggles and hustle, right? It's very easy to get carried away because I remember there used to be a time where I get so worried about the country, and then when people start to rant, I'm like, oh, Nigeria is so annoying. I've been to other countries and I can tell for a fact that things are different. One day I just woke up, I was like, man, this thing is messing up my head.
I'm going to say something about this.
Okay, go ahead.
Funny thing is, we shouldn't allow the situation of a country to stop us.
Oh, I was getting there.
And that's where we get it all wrong. We feel because the economy is not moving. Businesses are thriving. Businesses are moving no matter the bad situation in the country.
You're very correct. That's what I was actually getting. So I used to be in that mindset whereby I feel like the country is just annoying until I just woke up one day. I told myself, man, look, you know what? I really don't care about Nigeria anymore.
Yeah.
Whether rain follow, sunshine,
whether rain blow.
Let it be. I would thrive, I'll make money, and I'll succeed, and I'll excel as well. So I had to do that. So that period, that whole mindset shift, helped me decide that okay, I'm just gonna start living, live while I'm living. I just told myself that's what I'm gonna do moving forward. So there's always a balance. I just try to create moments that give me the time, to be able to reflect and also enjoy life. Yeah, and then one of those things is actually spending time with my kids. So that's play football with them with our shirt off. Play football, run around, do stuff. So yeah, and then travel as well. So yeah, that's it.
So, guys, we'll be right back. We'll be going for a short break. See you guys soon. Welcome back, guys. We were talking about life as an entrepreneur in Nigeria. You've not finished answering your question, by the way, about balancing
life and business, right?
Life business.
Okay. So I'll just share my personal experience.
Okay.
So because I shuttle states, right? Okay. So let me use Lagos and Abuja, for example, where I have my businesses currently. So I spend 2 weeks in Lagos, 2 weeks in Abuja. So what I usually do is that the 2 weeks in Abuja, I make sure I milk it with family, right? So family time, because that's very key. I know for a fact that, growing up, I had a lot of friends who their parents lost out of, being parents because they're trying to make ends meet. I want to be able to make ends meet and also, have time for my family. First things first, I love my kids. Really nice. I love my kids to death. Like, I love them to death. So, and of course, I have a lovely wife as well. So going home is something that excites me. Do you understand? So, and that's why I also take it upon myself never to miss important dates. Like the school graduation, inter-house sports, anything they do. So
those things,
go ahead.
Those things, how little how they sound, they are so important.
Of course.
I still have trauma of some events that my parents, I went to boarding school. Yeah. All this while my parents didn't come to visit, I still hold that.
To your heart and all that.
I still hold that to them. I'm like, why didn't you come to my school? Why didn't you send somebody? Why do you have to send somebody?
I know.
So today, my best visiting day is when my mom came. And she came for my visiting day just once.
Oh, wow.
And that's my favorite. To show you that kids really...
Yeah, kids count. But can I ask you, now, do you understand why they were not able to really make it?
I understand, but right? Kids are kids. Please be there for your kids.
I know. So it brings me towards something I said sometime. I think I put it out there. I was talking about how a lot of us were very angry with our parents. A lot of people were really mad at their parents, and you say, "Oh, my dad didn't do this." You're asking questions like, "Oh, where my papa did when he made the buy duplex? Where my papa did when he made the buy private jet? What was happening when all my guys are going for vacation? Why am I not doing that as well?" Now you're an adult. Buy the duplex now.
Oh, it's not as easy as it sounds. Yeah, we get it.
So as much as our parents, had some flaws, I think it's also very important for us to, give them some break, because now we're adults and I see the extra work. I'll use myself as a case study, right? I see the extra work I have to put in just to be, a proper dad. I'm glad that it's something I enjoy. So it's not like a chore. Right. But then again, to be able to balance work life and family life, I try to be very intentional, with family values. I try to be intentional with birthdays, school activities, all that stuff. I mean, for example, my daughter at some point was supposed to attend a prom. Normally, I'll be the one to drive. I'll drive her there. I needed to see my face that her father is not smiling. I'm around. Do you understand? Because on that note, I wasn't around, because of work stuff. But I had to tell my younger brother to, drive her there. Show your face. Let them see you. Do you understand? So those are the things. Those are one of the things. So I try not to miss out. Yeah. In family values. Simply because I'm trying to chase money and all that. So so to speak, I think for me, it's just about being intentional about it. It's about making sure I create time and not make excuses. So that's how I'm able to balance work and family time. Yeah. That's
really, I admire you for this.
Thank you.
I know it's not easy for you finding out time for all these little details for you to be there. It's an amazing work you've done.
Yeah, I know, right? So far. Thank you.
How will you describe, or I should put it like this, what is success to you as an entrepreneur?
Okay. So before I explain what success is, right? I've come to terms with the fact that as a businessman or as a businesswoman, there is no finish line, right? So that thing that we see as he is successful, it is actually, to me, I see it as your little wins. So for me, I'll define success as every milestone I'm able to achieve. So say, for example, I have a small store now and I'm able to buy. So my dream is, I want to get bigger machines. I want to get a bigger space. The moment I'm able to get to that, like achieve that milestone. As far as I'm concerned, that's success to me.
So one doesn't have to like wait for the big thing before you like classify it as success.
Very correct. So when you wait for the big thing to happen, you actually end up missing out the joy that you're supposed to derive from the journey.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
This is what I've been saying. The journey, the process.
Exactly.
It matters like
of
a
course
whole
it does.
lot.
It does.
Don't skip the startup phase because they're shaping you to like
very correct.
who you are like
very
as a person.
Correct. Very correct. So if you're trying to define success as the finish line, I can guarantee you that you will miss out in the little wins. You know. So for me, I see success as every milestone achieved. Once I'm able to tick this, like, oh, I've been able to do this, I'm happy about it. I celebrate it. I bask in that moment. I enjoy it. And then, of course, I look forward to the next task. I look forward to the next milestone to achieve. So as long as I keep piling, so to me, I just feel it's, to me, success is just brick by brick. You get a brick, just keep building it and all that.
Little things emerge like into something big.
Very
and at the end of
correct.
the day, you discover that those little things are actually not so little. Because when you achieve
not
this,
very little.
you achieve this, you achieve this, and you like put them,
Sum them all
together.
then,
You're like, wow, you'll be amazed at like
of course,
the outcome of how far you've gone.
Yeah. And then when you're able to, you know, have this mindset, like you explained, when you're able to have that kind of mindset, you know, you realize that, you know, it feels like life becomes more interesting. It feels like life, you know, the journey becomes more exciting, you know, so to speak, because you're able to milk from this little wins. You're able to put them together and also enjoy the process. Because I mean, if you're waiting, if your typical definition of success is when you make it big, let me shock you. I have a lot of older friends. So most of the people I call my friends are way old. I mean, they are literally like mentors, right? I have an uncle who's amazing, who is one of my great mentors. I have my school father when I was in secondary school. I went to FGC Bina, right? It was a boarding school as well. You know, he's also in Abuja doing very well. He's a mentor. And I can tell you for a fact that I've hung out with these guys a whole lot, and I've come to realize that you see this thing called success, right? It's a very dicey thing. When I mean dicey, I'm talking about the fact that, you know, people would define success based on what they see. I've come to realize that human beings by default define success based on the things they see, not by what you're going through, right? And because success is relative, your definition of success would totally be different from my definition of success. So say, for example, you see me now, I pull up in the G-Wagon. I have like 10 factories.
Oh, you're successful.
I'm into real estate.
You've already ranked you like the most successful
I'm doing well.
person.
Exactly. So in your mind, I'm doing very well, which of course I'm doing very well. I mean, life becomes easier, you know. So, okay, let me back to my illustration. So I'm driving a G-Wagon and then I have like real estate companies. I'm doing a whole lot, you know, and then someone is looking at me, oh man, this guy is so successful and all that. You know, the very funny thing about that is that I might not be seeing myself as successful, you know, as much as you see it, right? Reason being that, I mean, there's a journey. There's a place I'm going to. So to me, I'm counting, this is my little win. So to me, I've been able to acquire properties in highbrow areas. And to me, it's a little win. I'm like, oh, thank God I've been able to achieve this and all that. But to you, you're seeing it like, this guy just acquired like XYZ and all that, you know. And so like I say, success is actually I've come to also realize that these people who are very successful, I mean, they have their hurdles. Like you're praying for a big break, you're asking God to give you 20 million. In your head now, if I just see 20 million now, everything don't balance.
Everything's going to be okay.
Do you understand? Now, this same person who you're looking up to, he's about to have high blood pressure because he's looking for 2 billion. I mean, how do you want to measure that?
Someone is always looking for something.
Exactly. How do you want to measure? So that's why, you know, when it comes to success, like they say, is relative. Success is something that, you know, you can actually decide to choose what makes you happy. But then overall, I always stand for, you know, happiness. That's why I'm always very quick to say, live while living. It's easier to do things right. Than to explain why they were done wrong. These are like quotes that I use as an entrepreneur, you know, to move. So when I want to make a decision, for example, I ask myself, okay, what's the best way, you know, to go about this? And then I always tell myself, it sounds in my head like, okay, remember, it is easier to do things right than to explain why they were done wrong. So I tell myself, okay, so if I'm going to make a decision, it has to be the right decision. So I don't have to put myself in a place where I have to say, the Yoruba people call it shalaye. I don't want to come and shalaye, so those are the things. And then in the midst of that as well, like I said, mentioned earlier, I try to also live while living. Yeah, so that's, to me, that's success. That's success.
Little wins.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a strong believer of little wins.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody could actually start off like, let me just say, a water business.
Okay.
And the water business could like win. And someone might be like, now water business, 91 they happy for. And you're like pushing the person's way like like it doesn't matter. But those little wins, actually, for them it's like a big thing, so they should be celebrated. Don't just push
them down.
People little wins.
I also feel
because they are not big.
In addition to what you just said, right? I also have a thing for people who downplay some certain businesses, right? I'm telling you this from the angle of a businessman, right? People downplay some business and think that it's just very basic. Now, let me do a quick math for you. Dangote, for example, has salt in the market, right? Everybody buys Dangote salt, which is quite cheap. You think it's cheap. About 100 naira you buy salt, right? Now, I want you to do the numbers. How many Nigerians do we have? We run into millions, right?
Yeah.
So let's say he's servicing just a fraction of the country. So let's just assume his core customers are about 10 million Nigerians. Grab a calculator.
That's like a whole
times
lot.
100 naira, then multiply it by,
that's a whole lot.
About 10 million. That's a whole lot of money. So for someone who wants to laugh at someone who is doing a very small business and you think, oh, it's this person is a joker, it means you don't even understand the power of numbers.
We have the numbers.
Of course, we do have the numbers.
I'm
going to. Okay, so I was in the Canton Fair last year. That's in China, right? And then, while I was visiting factories and all that, I've always had this dream to have a business that would do numbers for me, right? So you think about business. I'm sure you're thinking of people who bring in toothpick. That didn't really make him money.
You're making money.
So I did my market survey and I decided, okay, you know what? I was going to bring in my own toothbrushes. Okay. I have my own brand. In fact, as I speak to you, they actually were expecting them to get into Nigeria, maybe like in 2 weeks or thereabouts. Now, why did I have to jump into toothbrushes? I'm looking at numbers. I want a product that would always, whether come rain or shine, right? This product would always sell. People would always, it would be on high demand.
We always use toothbrush because 3 months we're
not in this Nigerian people. Some people 6 months. So
do you know that if you go to a person's house, the most item you're going to see
toothbrushes.
is toothbrush.
Yeah, but Nigerians are stubborn people. So even behind our toothbrushes, we put a pack. When we put it there, dentists advise that your toothbrush should be used for only 3 months. We're trying to encourage people because if you leave some Nigerians, they can use it for like a year.
Well, no, I will hardly doubt that. When it comes to toothbrushes, we are good at that. I think we are good at that.
You went to a boarding school, right?
Yeah, I do.
Very good. How many times do you change your toothbrush in a term? Unless if it gets missing.
I was quite young and we didn't take all that personal.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to brushing our teeth, we didn't take that personal. We just brush our teeth maybe. And in a term, it's quite long depending on the
number
of
second term and third term and out.
It depends.
Nigerians really don't care. Some people only change their toothbrush once the bristle starts bending. That's when once it starts bending, that's when they feel like, okay.
That's true.
Yeah, that's when they now have to change their toothbrushes and all that.
But everyone waits you is all bending before you change your toothbrush now. But I think toothbrush is like a very good.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
What advice do you give to somebody that wants to go into like a business in Nigeria?
Okay, so first things first, I'll tell the person is worth it, right? I'll tell the person that, you can actually succeed, right? As long as you don't overshoot yourself. Understand that there's a process to these things. Don't just start business today and expect yourself to be on top of the
fast success.
Do you understand? Yeah, don't. That would actually break your heart.
Funny thing is, we are actually very impatient people. We just want everything done snap. We don't care about the process. That's one thing about
a lot of people.
Don't care about the process. They just want to start, and they're like me. They don't know that all this thing comes like with process.
Yeah, of
It
course.
comes with like their own challenges. You
Very
might just
correct.
face one challenge and you're like back to it, like you don't want to do it anymore because
Yeah.
maybe they had expectation of
Expectations are
this
very,
business
very
supposed to be
high.
like booming in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
And they don't know, most of these people that have made it, if they tell you the number of years it took
They've
them
put in,
to build their brands, you'll be like, oh, you're just starting. Why are you giving up or trying
why
to
in a
make a
hurry?
fast success? Or
Yeah, so that's one of the things I would always advise. Understand that there's a process. That's one. Two, I need them to, I would also advise, but tell the person that, it's totally different. What they tell you about a business is totally different from running the business itself.
Experience. They say experience is the best teacher.
Very correct.
It will teach you.
Very correct. So for those who feel that, someone give them a business idea and they feel that they're just going to run it, everybody will tell you the good side of the business. But then when you start running the business itself, you now start to understand what it takes to run that business. That's second. So I'll tell them that the story, the what you heard about the business is a different ball game to when you're running the business itself. That's number two. Number three, I would also tell them to learn how to, be a salesman, be a marketer by default. You should be able to enjoy marketing. You need to be able to, enjoy the process of selling your business, selling yourself as a person.
There's even joy that comes with, this is your baby. You're like trying to like nurture it. There's
Yeah,
like
but
a joy that comes
you
with
also
it.
understand that as much as there's joy to that, people get tired of that baby. They don't want to
Why
start
do you be tired of
businesses.
your baby?
No, people start businesses and along the line they get tired and then they back out.
That's when I find it, if you get tired like of a business, you don't have motivation a lot.
Yeah,
like you're not
very-
passionate.
very
There's
correct.
no how you will start something and you say this is your baby and you leave it halfway.
Yeah.
For me, because as a woman, if I should have definitely I'm going to get my baby son, but yeah. Just imagine me leaving my baby.
No,
I love the way because I'm tired.
But it's actually different. If we're being honest, you know why? You know why it's different.
Why is it
We're talking about a
different?
human being, your flesh and your blood, and a business.
A business can also be a baby.
It can be a baby, but if it stresses you too much, some people would actually just close up and leave.
It stresses me too much.
I know, right?
That's why even kids too, if you're saying it's not the same, I would say it's the same thing because even kids too.
It's not the same thing.
No, the mother gets to get tired.
No, you get
That's
tired.
where you have your sisters, your family, nannies.
Okay, yeah.
They actually take, once you're tired, of course you need
want
to
to help
rest or
and step
something.
in.
They help you. The same thing with business.
I know.
Once you're tired, you need to
But
you can go back and
Yeah.
take a deep breath and still come back.
And not
It's
for,
not like
not for
you
children,
leave it.
no. Yeah. I have 3 children. I can tell you.
Okay.
But for
Okay.
business, people start a business and then they're very passionate about it. They say everything good about it. The spirit is high. But then something happens.
Okay.
Maybe the business has to stress them and they feel like, come on, no, I need to try something else. And you won't blame them. I'll give you an instance, right? I've had, because I say I'm a serial entrepreneur, I've tried a lot of businesses. There used to be a time I had a dry cleaning firm, right? Now,
Okay.
I did that for a while and I stopped. Why do I actually venture into, so whenever I have an idea, anything that is business related, the reason why I want to jump on it is because I don't want to get to when I'm 60, 70 and I live a life of regret. I don't want to get to that point whereby I start to think like, okay, what if I had done that particular business? What if that would have been the business that would make me a multi-billionaire, right? I don't want to leave that kind. So once I have an idea and I'm very positive about it, I'll try it on. So now, that being said, it's also okay for me to drop that particular business because I feel like, okay, it's not making sense and it's not as smooth as I expected it to be. Now, while I'm doing that because it's a side business. I already have a core business. So like I would always tell people, you're talking about me advising people, right? So I'll tell someone, if you want to be an entrepreneur, because there are two different things. Running a business or deciding to start a business is different from deciding that you want to be a serial entrepreneur, right? And being a serial entrepreneur is a journey. That's when you do a whole lot of things. So for me, being as an entrepreneur and a businessman, I have a core business, which, when we started the show, I introduced as, the Sperie and then the consulting firm as well, right? I have not deviated from that since I jumped into it. I started that process all the way from shortly after I left secondary school. This business was actually what I used in training myself in the university, right?
Wow.
All the way till I was done with university and got my first office in 2014, and it's been a journey. Now I'm going to tell you something. That has been my business. But have I tried other things along the line? Of course, yes. So which also brings us back to what we're talking about, how you can, no matter how much is your baby, you can still let it go. I've tried other things. I mean, I tried running a dry cleaning firm. I did that for a couple of years.
So you're not afraid for try and
If
error?
it's afraid, I'm not afraid. Because if you're not willing to make mistakes as a businessman, trust
You're
me,
not ready.
you're not ready. So I'm not afraid of trial and error. I'm not afraid of making mistakes. I am not afraid of starting anything. No, it's not. Then when it comes, then risk. You have to be a risk taker.
No, you have to be a risk. If you're not a risk taker, you can't. For me, you can't go into business.
True.
Because business is all about risks.
You have to take risks. I mean, you wake up every day. So you're speaking to someone, you're telling someone, oh, tomorrow or next week, I'm going to give you 200K. I mean, you don't even know where this 100K is coming from. Unless if you have unless if you have it in
the kind
your
of
account.
mind
Yeah.
we have is crazy. We'll be like, don't worry, it's going to get to you. And we always find ways to get that thing
I feel
done.
I feel it's I feel we indirectly, a lot of entrepreneurs actually activate the power of faith, right? I mean, faith doesn't have to do it, has nothing to do with if you're a Christian or Muslim, whatever. As long as you have faith, God will make it happen. The universe will align things in your favor. So what entrepreneurs, what we practice without even knowing it is a high level of faith. A lot of people just say, okay, you know what, by the end of next year. So when you tell me what's your next year plan, where do you want to be? This is you speaking in faith because you believe that that's what it's going to be. And because you believe it and you walk towards that direction, of course it would happen.
And you tend to align with your faith.
Of course, yes. The universe would always bring things, everything you need, as long as you are you're very focused and consistent, because consistency is very key.
Sure.
Very, it's ultimate. You cannot go really far if you're not consistent. So it's actually very, very key. So there's a whole lot of advices I would give to entrepreneurs. It's a long one. If we start today, we won't end today. But those are the basic ones that I can talk about.
Thank you so much for this.
You're welcome.
This segment,
you're welcome.
I'm even speechless. I'm so speechless. Well, thank you so much for being right here with us. Thank you so much for the discussion. Thank you for
you're welcome.
Your honest answers.
Oh yeah. Come on, yes.
Will you be kind enough to it's fine if you don't want to, but will you be kind enough to drop your social media platform, your handle? Okay,
so my name is Isinguzo Franklin Kelechi, but there's Sperie attached to it. So a lot of people actually know me as Franklin Sperie. So the Sperie is spelled as SPERIE with an underscore. So my handle is @Sperie across all social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat.
You're literally everywhere.
Yeah. So Sperie.
Funny thing is, I know we are done with the segment, but business owners are now content creators.
You have to put
it's crazy.
No,
I know business is just about maybe selling your stuff. Social media is so wide that we are now content creators. It's crazy.
Let me tell you one funny thing. You see it as content creation, but I see it as being intentional. So I'll give you an instance. It's actually a high level of marketing if you really look at it, right? Tunelumelu, for instance, is very wealthy, right? Yet he's putting out his content. You need to let people know what you're selling. How do you know people know what you're selling? It's by putting them out on your socials. And once you do that, people remember, because life is so hard. People have a very short attention span. People are easy to, imagine someone sending me a message some time ago. I was like, oh, sorry, do you guys still print? And I'm like, come on, this is the only business that we do. This is one of the major business that we do. So why are you asking that? So what am I saying in essence? You need to be on people's faces.
And most people just go to they'll be like, if you want to work with somebody, just go to your socials to know who they want to work with. If you're still watching, thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for still being here. We are glad you stuck it through the very end. Thank you guys. Until next time, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, don't forget to tell a friend. You don't know who might need this particular topic that we are discussing right here. So thank you guys. Until next time. Bye.